From a $1 gaming PC all the way up to $100,000 gaming PC, and every price point in between. Gamers use PCs that range from super cheap to insanely expensive, starting with the $1 PC. But the cheapest this guy could actually find was $199.
Oh my god, it stinks. Thankfully there is a computer inside, but oh my goodness, it is disgusting.
Oh my gosh, but then we were booting.
Oh.
It took so long to open Edge.
3 seconds. 9, 10. Okay, that was bad. It took half a minute.
Can a $1 PC run a 4K YouTube video?
Oh my gosh, you can play YouTube. How many frames are we getting? Oh. 9, 8, 15. Oh no.
But this guy's PC literally costs the same as a McDonald's meal, just $15. And what's even crazier, he actually tried to run Fortnite on it.
Okay, so let's try and turn it on. Okay, and we got the fan moving. There's no weird rattling or anything at all. Even though the PC was turning on, there was just nothing showing up on the monitor.
It turned out this PC wasn't running at all, so he ended up paying even more for it. And while this guy couldn't run Fortnite on his PC, this other guy got one for $50. It was a decent trade, considering he could run Fortnite, Valorant, and League of Legends.
And even on this $50 PC, at 1080p resolution and medium settings, I was able to play a bot game with an average of about 70 FPS. But I guess I stand corrected. Even when in performance mode, view distance dropped down and the resolution set to 720p, the best I could get, the average FPS was to about 65. Moving on to Valorant, another esports title that can play on any potato, and it did fare much better than Fortnite did. At 720p in low setting, I was able to average around 80 FPS, and the 1% load was around 15.
But this guy went for double the amount and got himself a $109 gaming PC.
I also found this RX 574 gigabyte card for $35, and that would have kept us well under the $100 total price, but the seller ended up canceling on me, so I only ended up with this one GTX 1060. This puts our total cost of the project at just $109, and like I said, this honestly wouldn't be that difficult to repeat for yourself.
But before we go ahead and test it, it needs a little bit of cleaning.
Blower for like 30 seconds, but feel free to clean it up further than that if you think it's necessary. Usually, I'd also recommend doing a full thermal paste reapplication because that original paste is probably in beat up shape. Please don't judge this gameplay footage because that's Sam playing, not me. And intended to be with low settings, our $100 build got an average FPS of 51. After that, we have Call of Duty Modern Warfare 3, and with 1080p minimum settings and an 80% resolution scale, we were comfortably over that 60 FPS mark, even with just the GTX 1060.
And while those past PCs were good for trash, this one cost $1,000.
If you want to play in 1440p, high settings, and achieve well over 200 FPS, then you guys clicked on the right video. So the CPU of choice for this build is the secret Ryzen 5 7500F, which is a 6-core, 12-thread processor that can only be bought outside of the US. I was able to comfortably fit in a brand new RX 7800 XT in this PC. Specifically the ASRock Challenger, which goes for around $470.
And this PC absolutely runs any game butter smooth. It can handle Cyberpunk Phantom Liberty on ultra settings at over 80 FPS with upscaling enabled. It also runs Call of Duty Warzone at 1440p, pushing more than 120 FPS. Now we're leveling up. This PC is worth $2,000, where this guy got the 4070 Ti Super and the 9800 X3D.
But you can see actually that our GPU at the moment is running at around about 95-96%, so we are certainly utilizing everything that we have on offer, but I mean CPU, 55% utilization. This is definitely a game, as I say, that will use all of the cores when you have 8 and put them to good use. This obviously is some Cyberpunk, and we've currently got this set to the Ultra preset, and we also have ray tracing set to Ultra as well. Not full path tracing, that's going to be a little bit beyond this system, certainly at 4K, but this is 4K DLSS performance. It was bugging out a little bit because we don't actually have frame gen enabled, but it was running at quite a high latency, and as soon as I turned it on in game, it then said you need to restart the game to enable frame gen.
But honestly, it's not that impressive compared to this $4,000 PC. It looks way cleaner, and at this price point, we're starting to see a lot of water blocks.
Hogwarts Legacy at 4K turns up the ante further. High settings and the build achieved just over 100 FPS on average. Move through into Warzone 2 at 4K high with DLSS enabled and set to the quality preset once again. DLSS, of course, enabled quality in pretty much all of our testing nowadays where available, and the build achieved 137 FPS on average. Even Starfield at 4K high settings performed well, 83 FPS on average, with 90 and 99 percentiles in the region of 77 and 65 FPS. Call of Duty's Modern Warfare 3 at 4K as an example. High settings with DLSS tuned up to quality quality, and the build pulled in over 200 frames per second, 225 FPS to be precise.
And while this guy kept that PC for himself, this man surprised his wife with an $8,000 PC as a reward for her great work as his editor.
Whoa, I love that case.
But the best CPU I have for her is actually the i9 13900KS. We're going to go with an RTX 3090 graphics card. This is the best card that we have on offer, and she's actually upgrading from a 2060, I believe it was, back in the day when we built her PC.
I love it.
All right, time to see if it works. Come on, give us a signal. There we go. It works. Grand Theft Auto 5 4K settings maxed out. We were achieving an average of 175 FPS. The CPU was hovering around 72 degrees on average and the GPU around 58 degrees.
Now we're talking over $10,000. This guy converted a server into a gaming PC worth $15,000.
It's gonna be a gaming PC! For the build, I'll need 3 power supplies and a fire hose. And we'll also compare it with the regular high-end PC featuring an RTX 4090 and an Intel i9. You get 2 terabytes of RAM worth $8,500. If the motherboard alone costs $3,500. And it doesn't even have RGB lighting. What a budget disgrace. For example, in Cyberpunk, both systems perform almost identically. The i9 is slightly better, but not by much. However, in other games, something very strange happened. FPS on the server was 3 times lower than on the i9 PC. I launched another well-known game and noticed that FPS on the server sometimes doubled, but after a while, it would randomly drop back to half.
But now, we're looking at a PC that costs as much as a brand new car, at the price of $30,000.
It's an 18-core CPU. We've got 128 gig of memory, 4 terabytes in NVMe, and then a further 28 terabytes in HDD on the top system alone. And we've got the 3 RTX 2080 Ti's on the top system.
So we want a 144, 240 hertz monitor.
Yeah.
Maybe even like a 4K 144 hertz.
Yeah, that would be...
Finally, you can actually...
Yeah, that would be the perfect monitor for this setup, I guess.
But the most expensive things aren't always the best. Like this $60,000 server paired with a 3090.
You can really hear the performance. Look at this RGB. It goes perfectly with our server. Now, normally I would be impressed that we're getting just shy of 200 frames per second, 4K Ultra Nightmare details, Doom Eternal. Except that when you've got a $60,000 machine, you might expect more bang for your buck.
And while that PC really wasn't worth it, let's take a look at a $100,000 build. This one was made for Carl, Mr. Beast's friend. He tried to stress test it with a massive Mines Minecraft world.
Did I mention that the pumps are gold-plated?
Oh, that's old TNT down there. Oh my god! Oh god. Over 100,000 TNT blocks have already blown up. Look at this!